Hey, let's go. Number 10. The War Over a Wooden Bucket. In 1325, two Italian city-states, Modena and Bologna, went to actual war over a wooden bucket. Soldiers from Modena raided Bologna and stole an oak bucket from a well as a trophy. Bologna demanded it back. Modena refused. This escalated into a real battle, the Battle of Zoppolino, involving thousands of soldiers and roughly 2,000 deaths. The bucket was never returned. It's still on display in a bell tower in Modena today, guarded like a war prize, because technically it was one. Number 9. The 38-Minute War. In 1896, the Sultan of Zanzibar died, and his cousin seized the throne without British approval. Britain gave an ultimatum: step down by 9 a.m. or be removed by force. He refused. At 9:02 a.m., British ships opened fire on the palace. By 9:40 a.m., it was over. Officially, the Anglo-Zanzibar War lasted 38 minutes, making it the shortest war ever recorded. The former sultan fled out the back door before the shelling even stopped. Number 8. Napoleon's Rabbit Attack. In 1707, Napoleon asked his chief of staff to organize a celebratory rabbit hunt. Thousands of rabbits were gathered for the occasion. The only problem, they weren't wild rabbits. They were farm-bred rabbits, completely tame and used to being fed by humans. The moment the hunt began, instead of fleeing, the rabbits swarmed toward Napoleon and his men, expecting food. Hundreds of rabbits charged the Emperor of France. His men couldn't fight them off. Napoleon was forced to retreat to his carriage. Number 7. The Great Emu War. In 1932, Australia deployed soldiers with machine guns against emus. Farmers were losing crops to roughly 20,000 emus migrating through Western Australia, so the military was called in. The emus scattered constantly, moved in small, unpredictable groups, and were far tougher than expected, absorbing multiple hits and surviving. After a week, the military had used thousands of rounds of ammunition and killed a small fraction of the emu population. The operation was called off. Newspapers at the time openly reported that the emus had won. Number 6. The Erfurt Latrine Disaster. In 1184, dozens of German nobles gathered in Erfurt for a royal assembly on the second floor of a building. The floor, weakened by the sheer weight of the crowd, collapsed entirely. Everyone fell through into the level below, which housed the building's latrine system. An estimated 60 nobles drowned in the sewage pit beneath the building. The king survived only because he happened to be standing in a stone window alcove that didn't collapse. Number 5. The Dancing Plague of 1518. In July of 1518, in Strasbourg, a fram named Frau Trophia stepped into the street and began dancing uncontrollably. She didn't stop for days. Within a week, dozens of others joined her, dancing involuntarily, some for weeks straight until they collapsed from exhaustion, and some reportedly died from strokes or heart attacks. City officials, believing more dancing was the cure, hired musicians to keep the rhythm going, making it worse. Historians still debate the cause: mass hysteria, food poisoning from a fungus in the local grain, but the event itself is thoroughly documented in city records. Number 4. Einstein's Stolen Brain. When Albert Einstein died in 1955, the pathologist performing his autopsy, Thomas Harvey, removed Einstein's brain without permission from the family. He sliced it into 240 pieces, stored them in jars, and kept them in his basement for decades, occasionally mailing small samples to researchers around the world who wanted to study what made a genius brain different. Einstein's family only found out after the fact. Harvey kept the brain for 40 years. Number 3. Tsutomu Yamaguchi.
In August 1945, Yamaguchi was in Hiroshima on a business trip when the atomic bomb detonated roughly 2 miles from him. Severely burned, he survived and traveled back home the next day. His home city? Nagasaki. 3 days later, the second atomic bomb detonated there, too, while he was describing the first attack to his boss. He survived that one as well. He remains the only person officially recognized by the Japanese government as a survivor of both atomic bombings. Number 2. Cleopatra was closer to the moon landing than the pyramids. The Great Pyramid of Giza was completed around 2560 BC. Cleopatra ruled Egypt and died in 30 BC. That's roughly 2,500 years between the pyramid's construction and Cleopatra's lifetime. She lived closer in time to a spacecraft landing on the moon than to the construction of the pyramids she ruled next to. Number 1. The Battle of Karánsebes. In 1788, during the Austro-Turkish War, an Austrian army camped near the town of Karánsebes at night. A scouting party crossed a river and encountered a group of Romany traders who sold them alcohol. Soldiers began drinking. A separate group of Austrian soldiers arrived later, mistook the drinking soldiers for Ottoman enemies in the dark, and opened fire. Panic spread through the camp. Different regiments, unable to see clearly and hearing gunfire, began firing on each other, convinced they were under Ottoman attack. By the time the chaos ended, the Austrian army had suffered an estimated several thousand casualties, fighting entirely against itself. The actual Ottoman army arrived 2 days later to find a battlefield already devastated by nobody. That's all 10. Less than 20% of people have ever heard even half of these. If any of these actually shocked you, drop a like, subscribe for more, and tell me in the comments which one you didn't believe was real.